Welcome everyone to Non-Productive. We can't play this music. We absolutely cannot play this music. This is not our music. Please, someone cut the music. Cut it. Cut that music.
Fine.
Thank you. Cut it. Cut the music. Sorry, we cannot play that music. That is not our approved March Madness theme music. We do have something. I do believe we have something prepared that is a little bit more our pay scale.
Okay.
Roll it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna do. That's what this is then. Welcome everyone to the Non-Productive.com March Madness Round 1 spectacular thing.
Woo!
We didn't need that at all. It doesn't matter who we are. We're all the people at Non-Productive. There's lots of us in the studio and remotely dialing in today. We're going to go over our March Madness competition. We do it once a year. It's not about basketball. It's about something far, far less physical. Yeah, but more important. In this year's March Madness competition, we're going to be talking about sidekicks that matter. I'm actually very, very excited about this topic. We'll do a quick roundtable of who we are. We'll keep it nice and clean, as if we were going to curse before our take our names. But nice. I'm Frank. I'm joined in studio with Al. Hey, Al.
Hi, I'm Al.
All right.
And I'm Jane.
All right. And then everybody who's in the remote peanut gallery, say your name quickly all at once.
Cappy. Matt.
Trust me, Ken is also there, but I think we may have potted him down all the way for some mean reason. Ken, can you say something?
You just hate me. That's all it is.
That's right. Well, it was you were playing Journey very loud before this, and then mysteriously your camera's off, which suggests that you are Journey.
I am.
He's all the people in Journey. I knew it.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, quick. This is very hard to explain what's going on. For those of you who don't know, a March Madness competition is basically a rundown of various different teams or figures that are pitted up against each other to figure out who's the best amongst all of them. Typically, there are 64 contenders in a March Madness. We have 64 in ours this year. And also, typically, it's about college basketball. But in non-pro tradition, we pick something that's interesting, topical, and also near and dear to every geek's heart. In this case, we are talking about sidekicks that matter. So the number one question I have gotten, I don't know if you guys posted this online, have received this yet, but how dare you, what do you call a sidekick, right?
Oh, God.
Yeah, so what we're kind of talking about is we have, I think, two major pieces of criteria. You are a support character or a love interest or a mentor or whatever, and that you're supporting a main character to a story, and you have somehow significantly improved the story and, if possible, the world by your role in that story. You've made a significant addition to both the genre and hopefully real world as well. Yeah. I think that's a pretty fair description. Does that make sense to all you non-pro people out there?
I am totally down with that.
Very cool.
We should have decided before we started. No, I'm kidding.
No, actually, that's a terrible description. I thought that was something completely different. I think it's pretty. I feel like you get in a couple arguments, and when we go through the games, we'll come up with people who get very upset that somebody was considered a sidekick. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So I think we should just go. We have 32 games to go through. We should probably get through them right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Do this. All right. So, if you would like to read along with us, go to non-productive.com/vote. So, in Game 1, we have Chewbacca from Star Wars versus Harvey Dent from The Dark Knight. So, right out of the way, the first round, people were mad at me. And we didn't.
Really?
This isn't something we decided. We had an open submission process, and we had very complicated scientific ways of determining who was fighting who.
Coin flips.
But yeah, people were mad at me for this one.
They're mad. What were their specific complaints?
I think people didn't understand that, they couldn't conceive of Harvey Dent as a sidekick, but he very much is a secondary character. Once you get rid of the conceit of what a sidekick really is, if you're just talking about a secondary character that helps a main character, Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight is very much a secondary character. He's very much a sidekick. He's very much a support character. In fact, he's like the spirit of the city. He inspires Bruce Wayne to do the great things that need to be done.
Well, I think he inspires him to quit. I mean, not to say that's a bad thing, but like he's like, no, I can leave the city in your hands. Everything's fine.
Absolutely, which is a good thing. I mean,
yeah,
that's
no, it
something
is.
he does.
It's also been retconned in the books too that Harvey and Bruce were good friends at that point, and they helped each other in their fight against crime.
So, but yeah, I mean, we've been with Batman we've been with Bruce and Harvey for a while, but I think specifically in, we have fans. I don't know why they're calling in. Oh, they're very angry already at Harvey Dent. Yeah, but it's I think it's established, especially in that movie. And versus Chewbacca, who's everyone's favorite co-pilot.
Yeah.
Chewbacca is definitely your traditional sidekick. I think my argument is, and this is where I get all my hate mail, is how does Chewbacca matter?
I'm totally on board with you.
I love Chewbacca.
I don't think Chewbacca should be on the list because I don't think he matters.
I love Chewbacca, I do, but what is it about Chewbacca that breaks the mold from every other character?
Matt, I think I'm gonna let you
and
handle this
sidekick
one,
character,
probably.
you know?
Matt, you're slowly stroking a blade across.
Well,
I'm on the same side as you on this.
Oh.
I mean, I do definitely see where James is coming from, and I do kind of agree to a point where, like, overall Chewbacca is secondary. He's secondary to a secondary character, to, like,
Yeah.
he's Han
like
Solo's secondary.
Quad secondary.
But
It's like tertiary is what you guys are looking for, maybe?
Sure.
Quadrary?
I think he's a bit more important than tertiary, but, like, he is definitely
He's
not really.
guy with that thing around his head.
That's a tertiary character.
That's a tertiary.
I totally disagree because if it wasn't for Chewbacca, the second Death Star wouldn't have been blown up because he helped take down the deflector shield on Endor.
I feel like. All right, so this is, I think, the argument, and we're spending a lot of time on Game 1 because of this. You've got a villain who people will say isn't a sidekick, and you've got a sidekick that people will argue doesn't matter because yeah, he did a lot to further the plot, I guess. But did he significantly change anything in the story?
Even furthering the plot, I feel like he is a part of a group of people doing most of those things.
Well,
Like
teammates can be sidekicks.
yeah, teammates
in
can be
this.
sidekicks, but I feel like there's nothing like individually special about Chewbacca doing those actions. You know what I mean? Like Han Solo is a secondary character that it's like very important that it's a Han Solo type character that has that effect on that world to play the foil to Luke's character.
See, for me, importance involves like it made some sort of significant change in like the way we think of secondary characters. And the closest I could come up with Chewbacca is like he is a big woolly fur, like bug-eyed alien, and you wouldn't think that a character like that would be like somebody that people can love.
I think maybe that he's partially a silent character is
Yeah.
a big thing for the way we think about secondary characters, but I think it's a weaker argument.
So the reason we I wouldn't call it weak, but like I think that's the primary thing he has going for him.
Right.
All right.
All right. So we spent a lot of time on this Game 1 because I think it's perfect in that it immediately is controversial.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think there may be a few more that we're going to spend a lot of time on, but some of them are a little bit more straightforward, including right off the bat, Dick Grayson versus Elle from The Last of Us.
Ellie. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the kid sidekicks, is the way I refer to them.
Oh.
So, of course, Dick Grayson is, or specifically Robin, is like the figure for what a sidekick should be. Perfect in every way. Does a great job of taking over for Batman. I guess Ellie also does something similar towards the end of that game.
She does. Ellie, I think, is very important for video games in general. Like not just like secondary characters. She's very important in terms of child characters in games. Like there's very few games where you could have a child character that has like deep character development, but also as for like a female character in video games, like there's so very few strong, deep female characters, and like Ellie kind of really broke the mold. And then sadly, it was only like 2 years ago when this happened, when The Last of Us first came out, as a character that was strong, like still a child, like vulnerable, like as a teenager is, but like she had deep and complicated character development, and was also extremely competent at what she did, which was surviving this post-apocalyptic America.
I gotta be honest, I don't know how well she's gonna do up against Robin, who is such an icon.
Yeah.
But I hate to lose good characters, either of them, in the first round. I'm going to be disappointed no matter how this goes out.
Mm.
It'd be very upsetting.
Because this was something we were hoping was going to be like the final match. Like this was going to.
Yeah, I could imagine someone thinking that, but
Yeah.
like I said, I think she's a. But Ellie is like a perfect example from what I've heard. I've not played the game.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, she's like the perfect example of okay, so this is a character that's actually added. But there's other ones. Other ones. We go to game 3. We have Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. Do not send hate mail. Listen, that's what this whole damn show's about. Versus Asami from Legend of Korra.
Ooh,
yeah.
So my argument for Groot is that he is not really the main character of that movie. He barely has any
Obviously,
speaking
yeah.
roles.
Yeah.
He is the heart of the movie, though, and he is a lot of there's a lot of emotion behind the character,
Yeah.
which is impressive for a character that doesn't really say anything. It's completely CGI.
Yeah, I'll say it actually does a better job of being Chewie than Chewie did.
Ooh, controversial. I would like to see Groot versus Chewie.
I mean,
Asami, on the other hand, is an anime character.
Asami is
Sorry.
actually from The Legend of
Yeah,
Korra,
I'm just being a jerk.
which, as many of you probably might know, ended with a bit of history making when Asami basically became a character that was originally conceived and written to be a villain, who became a love interest, who became a sidekick, who became the love interest of the main character
Yeah.
in Nickelodeon's first ever, gay female couple.
I wouldn't also say she was written to be a villain. I think she was much more a romantic foil.
Well, actually, in what do you call?
The
when they
original
were the original concepts for her,
Ah.
they came up with her as a villainous
All right.
character, and then
that
they
is
changed her.
certainly I may have said this for the last 2 games, but this is another perfect iconic example of what we're looking for here.
Yeah, this is
a support character, which I don't like that term because it's not something that people really use outside of like tabletop RPGs. That actually has a significance both in story and
out. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, she will not beat Groot. Sorry. It's not going to happen. I mean,
I don't know, considering how much of a wave like the Korra has. I think it'll be.
They're both riding big hype trains right now.
That's true, they are.
Speaking of big hype trains.
Yeah, but the show's over, so.
What was that? Silence. Alfred Pennyworth from Batman versus Urkel.
Wow.
Well,
Urkel from Family Matters. Okay, all I have to say about Urkel is literally he was like a guest character, maybe, or like a
he was
walk-on
like
character?
a
not a walk-on, but a guest character for like an episode, and he stole the show.
he was meant to do a couple appearances, and then he became a regular.
For good or ill.
Yep.
Alfred Pennyworth, on the other hand, Alfred, I think, is probably like one of my favorite Batman characters, and I'm not even just saying that as like, this isn't hyperbole. I really do think he's great. I mean, Alfred Pennyworth in Gotham is amazing, but almost every version of Alfred is great. Ken, do you have anything you want to add about Alfred?
Between Michael Goff and Michael Caine, he's the perfect character in this contest overall.
Which who was Michael Goff? He
was Alfred in the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Wasn't he like related to the person who played Alfred in the '66 Batman? Or am I?
No, you're thinking. I want to say it's Alan Napier who played him.
Yeah, I felt like somebody was. I don't know, but yeah.
You might be confused because Alan Napier played him on the TV show, and Jack Napier was the Joker in the Batman movie.
Okay. First of all, I don't think I was that confused. And I have been drinking, but that's okay. Coffee. It's the legal stimulant. So yeah, I do think I'm very glad. I'm glad Urkel made it to the list.
Yeah, I feel a little bad. This is definitely a knockout for him.
Yeah.
For who?
For Urkel.
No way in hell.
You don't think Alfred's not going to beat?
I will immediately
Alfred?
rage quit this contest if Alfred doesn't beat Urkel.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying Alfred is going to beat Urkel.
Yeah, that's what,
but I feel, I feel
I'm
bad
okay with
because
that.
I feel like Urkel. I feel like Urkel does mean something as far as television characters
I'm
go.
glad he made it to the 64 because we lost a lot of characters in the seeding. But I don't. I mean, he isn't even the best version of that character we're talking about.
You're not going to shed a tear.
He'll show up later on.
Yeah.
The best version of this stole the show character comes up later on. Game 5, we have Penny from Inspector Gadget, which I'm taking complete credit for, and versus Carol Cleveland from Monty Python, which I'm also taking credit for.
Oh man.
Well then, Frank, why don't you talk about this one?
Well, just the basics is that I was randomly picking characters for the graphics originally when we pitched this, and I picked Penny from. No, that's not true. I'm misremembering that. We actually talked about that during
We
the
did.
host meeting.
We talked about
All right,
Penny when
fine.
we
I
first
don't
came
take
up
credit
with
for
this
that. At least I fessed up to it. Penny is, of course, Uncle Gadget's niece who kind of hides out in the backseat and solves all his crimes for him. Carol Cleveland, complicated, right? So the original Monty Python troupe. There were 6 people in Monty Python.
Right.
If you count Terry Gilliam, and you definitely should, even though he didn't appear in a lot of the sketches, and he was like the only American. He's still, yes, clearly a Python. But the 7th Python, a lot of people consider, is Carol Cleveland.
Absolutely.
Who played most of the
Female roles.
I hesitate on that. 'Cause that's not,
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
yeah, that's not technically true. I'm sure most of the female roles were actually played by other Pythons, but yeah, you know what we're saying here. Like the only female cast member of Monty Python, who actually she's still touring with them, or was up until recently. I don't know when they stopped touring.
Yeah, but it goes back to what you were saying, Frank, about the sidekick being part of the story as opposed to being the character too. You know, she was the lone woman that was able to help wrangle in all of the boys in that troop.
Right, and she's our only surviving character from like a rash of nominations. A bunch of like 4th or 5th Beatles were nominated. The only female member of a comedy troupe. There was someone for the Marx Brothers movies. And there was someone from the Three Stooges, somebody who like appeared a lot in their shorts, but they didn't make it past the seating. Only Carol Cleveland had enough votes to do that. All right, Game 6. Hermione Granger from Harry Potter series versus Bishop from Aliens. Those of you who are fans of Non-Productive, and I'm sure all of you are, subscribe to our channel on youtube.com/nonproductive. Remember that last year's March Madness was Women in Fiction. It was amazing, and Hermione won. I was shocked. Not like I was, I guess a little pessimistic. I thought like the most popular, most recent character, Katniss Everdeen, was our #1 seed in that competition.
Yeah, she had the most nominations.
Hermione Granger ran away with it, and now we're getting flack for having her as a sidekick on this. March
She
Madness.
needs to defend her title. Come on.
Well,
She's
well,
win 2 years in a row.
well, if I can bring something to it, Alice Ripley lasted pretty long too. So let's hope that we can have some alien cred during this competition.
Yes, I think clearly the reason why Hermione Granger. I know sidekick is an offensive term to some people, but it really shouldn't be, and we're using it in a celebratory sense.
Yeah.
And she is not the main character in the Harry Potter series. That is clearly
Harry Potter.
Long. Deep cut, not that.
Yep.
But as clearly Harry Potter. But she is like a wonderfully realized secondary character. Like she is as interesting and as important. I've never heard anyone complaining about playing Hermione or being Hermione for Halloween, because she is a real character. She has a lot of value in that way. Then you look at Bishop from Aliens. I'll be honest. I got into Aliens in a weird place when I was a kid, and being the robot that was a good guy. It hit me, and it's a little hard to say, like, androids in literature are often represented as something scary.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to defend android Americans here, or like we finally a character for them. I'm saying that like there was a time when literature was afraid of the future.
Yeah.
And then there was characters that sort of leaking in that were less.
Yeah, because what it was,
fear of the
like,
future.
it was the movies that came beforehand, like in the original Alien, like in Blade Runner, but like there was the
Androids were evil.
They were
and
evil.
scary.
They were something you had to run away from and get, defeat.
Mhm.
And this one, it was like, listen, we're not all bad.
Mhm.
And I agree. There's a lot to be said there to say technology is not always going to be your enemy.
Right. I can't wait for Hermione to beat him. Game
It's a
7.
shame, but yeah, you're probably gonna
Pinky
happen.
from Pinky and the Brain versus Lois Lane from Superman. Why is Pinky on this list?
I have no idea. He's not a sidekick.
He's
the
he is-
sidekicks
Are you
don't even
kidding?
talk-
Yeah. Listen, I understand that he in universe is a sidekick, but he is clearly a main character.
He's mentioned before Brain.
Yeah.
Again, sidekicks don't get top billing.
Yeah. I'm not in favor of this. Well,
No, I'll actually dispute that, because Pinky is the Robin to the Brain's Batman.
But you don't say Robin and Batman.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
But you do. Batman and Robin has a title.
Batman and Robin.
Batman and Robin. You don't say Robin and Batman.
I'm not just gonna boil this down to titles. I mean, clearly, Pinky is like 50% of the joy of that show.
True.
And I don't think anybody would be too upset if Robin didn't show up in the 66 Batman. All right, I'm not gonna. I have a problem with it. I don't think Pinky really deserves the role here, but I will, because of later characters that show up. I'm willing to eat my hat a little bit on that. Lois Lane, on the other hand, is like perfect. I think she is the I think probably even more than Jimmy Olsen, who may show up later on in our contest, is probably Superman's second half. She's the better half of Superman. And there are plenty of times where she is portrayed well. Dana Delaney in the animated series is one of my favorites.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
All right, game 8. Watson, Dr. Watson from Sherlock Holmes versus Rick Jones from the Hulk. Dr. Watson is, of course, an iconic character, and there's various different interpretations of him over the years. We've not picked one for this, so you could pick your poison. He is the sane man to Sherlock's madness. Rick Jones, on the other hand...
a lot of incarnations over the years. He's been very pivotal to a lot of Marvel's comics over the years.
Yeah, recently he became A-Bomb, right?
Yeah, but there's been so many other things. He was Captain Marvel at one point.
Oh yeah, good lord.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just my lack of comic book knowledge, but I feel like, when we think of the original sidekick, we think Watson. And I think that gives him a bit of an edge.
I'm inclined to agree with you on that one, actually.
I agree, but Rick Jones is pivotal in the respect that if it wasn't for Rick Jones, there would be no Incredible Hulk.
All I have to say is, and I think AJ, you were there, right, when we were going through this list, and I had to try to remember who Rick Jones was.
I do remember that. I don't remember who Rick Jones was.
Like, I'm not. I know. We know who he is. And we know that if he didn't go into the bomb thing, whatever, that Hulk, I just don't think he is as interesting. That's personal bias there. Prove me wrong by voting, you jerks.
Weird thing to say, though.
Hate our audience.
Weird thing to say, though, is it's like, wait, so this guy became the Hulk's sidekick, and the whole reason, like there's a Hulk, is Bruce Banner came in there and shoved him out of the way, I would hate this guy for the rest of my life. I wouldn't take him with me and pal around and buddy with him.
And in fairness, I believe that comes up often in the stories where the Hulk really does not like Rick Jones in some way, in certain versions of the stories, I believe.
And Rick Jones was Captain America at one point.
Oh.
Was he everybody?
Yeah. He's very pivotal to Marvel's history.
That may be more of a sign of a character that's poorly thought out than a character that matters.
But at the same time, he's up against Watson, the quintessential sidekick.
Yeah, he really is he is the protozoa of sidekicks. All right, game 9.
Original doesn't mean best.
Oh, yeah, true.
Very influential.
Game 9. Harley Quinn from Batman versus Jubilee from X-Men. You could all go to hell for thinking Jubilee doesn't deserve it. I think she definitely deserves it.
No, she does. Definitely.
She was, for those of us who got into comics in the 90s, or X-Men in the 90s, she was she was a viewpoint character.
Yeah.
She was a teenage mole rat. Asian American teenage mole rat. I think that's pretty cool. And though, I mean, it's pretty awesome. Even the story of how Harley Quinn became a character is great. It's like Arlene Sorkin, was it? Is that who I'm thinking of?
Possibly. Who you think? What do you think?
The voiceover actress for Harley Quinn.
Oh, I don't think that was her, unfortunately.
Did I just make up that person? That's a great name.
That is a great name, but
was she a character on The Simpsons? What am I talking about?
Are you thinking of the female version of Aaron Sorkin?
No. What? Right, you went too far.
Yeah.
Wait, so...
But no,
no, Arlene Sorkin. You could all go to hell. She was friends with Paul Dini and I think Bruce Timm. She was they were close in some way, and the character was actually designed for her. Yep. So that's great. Don't say yup like you knew. You just said Arlene Sorkin was the female version of
Yep.
Crap.
I'm actually going to dispute this. I mean, I know Harley is really popular, and I guess she does feel, but I just feel there's too much poison in the well that DC has very mishandled Harley Quinn throughout the years. Yeah. Sans, animated series, and oddly enough, the video game tie-in comic to Injustice, Harley Quinn is normally written pretty terribly. There are very few instances where they don't try to make it her abusive relationship with the Joker as either insensitive and or a joke.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is a lot of good writing for her, but I feel like there's also just as much, if not maybe a bit more, of bad writing for Harley Quinn.
So, to be fair, I think the most recent iteration is her current solo run, which I've heard is quite good.
Well, I'm kind of on Matt's side on this one. I feel like there is a lot of good writing for Harley Quinn, but there's like almost as if there's like a lot of bad fanfic for Harley Quinn. There's like a lot of bad incidental writing. Like she shows up. I don't know. It's hard to put your finger on, but she's in a lot of stuff that I feel like is kind of bad, except for the original animated series. Whereas Jubilee is the opposite. Like a lot of people remember Jubilee as kind of the cheesy 80s cartoon thing that's just like the yellow jacket and whatever.
Right.
But her character has gone through some interesting things in the meanwhile. She's like a single mother. She became a vampire. Probably should have followed up with that one. But there's like a bunch of stuff that's like her character is actually getting more interesting. Where Harley, it's like, all right, we get it. You got a female Joker in many ways.
I would say the problem here is like you can't compare the two exactly because you're more or less saying like, all right, well, most of what they've done is kind of not so good. I'm like, yeah, but that's most of the people on this list, really.
You could find the whole point of this is looking at the best of them.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go into the submissions and find the moments people love the most.
Well, can I bring one up? Because I actually got cut out of the conversation on this one.
Well, because we want to hear what you have to say. Game 10 from. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, in the 90s with the TV show, Jubilee was the sidekick of Wolverine.
Yeah.
And essentially back in 99 when the X-Men movie came out, the part of Rogue is the part of that Jubilee was playing at that point.
Yeah, I mean, most people who would see the cartoon now would think, oh, that's Rogue. That's Rogue from the movie.
Half pint.
Yeah, half pint.
But that's what he called her.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he make a Little House of the Prairie reference?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Wolverine's old.
All right, good. In that he watched Little House of the Prairie?
He lived through Little House of the Prairie.
In that Little House of the Prairie is accurately depicting life in the... Oh, all right, we're done. Game 10, Barf from Spaceballs versus River Song from Doctor Who. I'm so excited for this because River Song, Doctor Who, super popular, and I cannot stand the fact that Barf is on this list.
We're having a problem with Chewbacca.
I was just going to say, yes, that is the problem. If Chewbacca's a problem, then Barf is going to be a problem, too.
Even more. Did you just say this? I love Barf. Sample that at home. I love Barf again, and I love Spaceballs, and I love John Candy.
Yep.
But my point is, like, was he a sidekick that mattered? Did that change things for you when you watched it as a kid? Other than thinking, I can't believe how funny Canadians are.
Well, it changed him because of John Candy. Like that was one of his big roles, and that just kind of was one of those moments, like as a kid, like because I didn't get to grow up with him in a lot of other movies, so I had to backlog a lot of it. So
I will say that he was definitely more influential than the character he was based on.
Yeah.
Considering he actually had speaking lines and actions.
Yeah.
In the movie. Like he
saying Vin Diesel's characters in Fast and the Furious meant more than Groot, and you can't say that on the internet.
I can't say that because I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But like Barf was actually like far more integral to the plot of Spaceballs than Chewbacca was to Star Wars.
Man, I don't know about that.
Barf lover.
Okay. At least to the episode, I guess it's 4 now. It's not really the first one, so it's 4.
Yeah, you mean New Hope? Yeah.
Yeah. What did Chewbacca do in that aside from act like a prisoner?
He kept asses in the seats, is what he did.
He did.
All right, game 11.
Hold on, one more thing.
Sure.
We'll have to find out now that they've announced Spaceballs 2.
Oh no.
What Barf's importance is going to be.
I hope he's at it digitally. No, I don't.
I hope not. No. I hope...
Game 11. Samwise Gamgee from The Lord of the Rings versus Fonzie from Happy Days. I would like to see this fight.
Sam Gamgee all the way.
Listen, Sam was here's the thing. Sam was a last-minute addition. Like almost no one submitted him till the very end, and then he barely eked out. And then in the seeding, he got highly ranked. So people forget about Sam.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a super influential character. Another influential character is Fonzie, who, like Urkel, I can't believe I just said that, entered his show as not the star, and then became the star and changed the way the show worked.
Right, but at that point, he's not a sidekick anymore. He was the draw for that show.
Yeah, but I think the argument of keeping him on the list is he was a sidekick. In this case, he's a mentor character.
Yeah.
Or like a replacement even. He matters in that he proved that a well-written secondary character can take the show.
But I'll
I
say,
understand your argument, but let the voters decide. Jerk. No,
I don't know, but Fonzie's the coolest.
he is the coolest.
Fonzie is the coolest, and that's part of the reason why I have a problem with this, is
But
because the Fonz cannot play second fiddle.
All right.
He is
Right.
not the second fiddle.
Here's-
Right.
I can carry you, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah.
I can't carry the ring,
Dude,
but I can
dude,
carry
Shut up,
you.
Shut up, everybody. And also, I'm going to read my own writing here because it's brilliant. Fonzie went from secondary character to focal point, effectively carrying his television series, but Samwise proved that no one has to carry it alone.
I think we can
We're
move
done.
on to
Yeah,
12.
we're good.
Next.
Yeah, right. Kato Hornet versus Wembley from Fraggle Rock.
I feel bad for Wembley.
Listen, Wembley.
I feel very bad for
I
Wembley.
don't know how Fraggle Rock kept getting voted up, but I guess fondly remembered. It's a great show, and it was cool that it introduced spiritual concepts to like this kid show. Kato is also kind of inexplicable. Like I know why I put the graphic in, and I think that may have seeded the poll because I don't know if most people think about. Like, have you guys listening to my voice? I'm sure Ken has. Has any of the rest of you seen the original Green Hornet with Bruce Lee in it?
Yeah,
You have?
Yeah.
How did you see it?
on Sci-Fi they ran a
Did
bunch.
they? All right.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, because
Or sometimes I was on TV.
that
Land
wasn't
back
me
in the day.
geek checking. That was me. geek
Wait,
click.
hold on. How did you see a bunch of it on Sci-Fi when the only real thing was his appearance on Batman?
What? No,
What?
there was
No, they
Green
had
Hornet,
no-
there were Green
they
Hornet
ran
episodes.
Green Hornet episodes on Sci-Fi for about a year or two.
Was I wrong, Ken? Have you not seen the Green Hornet TV show?
Apparently not, because the only thing that I remember is his appearance on the Batman '66 show.
That was a spin-off. Yeah, Green Hornet had its own TV show. Bruce Lee played Kato.
Yep.
I don't even know if Bruce Lee played Kato on Batman, the TV show. I think
No,
it was
he
a
didn't.
different-
He didn't.
Yeah,
it was a different actor.
Different actor, yeah.
Oh man! Wow, did I totally learn something new about my geeky friends?
Yeah.
All right, we got to marathon that, man. It's great.
I mean, actually, the only reason why I think Kato would be great is basically what they've been doing in the comics lately, and Kevin Smith actually doing a fantastic job of writing up Kato.
Oh, that's cool. Good. I'm glad that there's more to it than people like fondly sideways remembering Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it is kind of cool that we were able to see like martial arts on television, but I'm surprised that so many people remember a series with martial arts on television
and it was
from
also
the 60s.
it was also a really good joke. I mean, it was
Show?
no joke. It was a good the idea that like it was really the sidekick was kind of technically the hero.
I disagree.
Really?
I feel like
Yeah,
you're
they were both
misremembering that.
competent.
They were both-
No, they were both
TV
competent,
show.
but it was really kind of like it was this.
That's
that was
the movie.
No, it wasn't the movie.
You think-
It was
Yeah.
before the movie. It was totally in the show.
I disagree.
Kato was definitely a little better fighter than the Green Hornet,
Yeah.
but I think it might have. To me, it almost was like also part of the fact that Bruce Lee could actually fight, so they could
and
film
could
Bruce
only
Lee more.
stage.
They could only stage so much for the other guy, the other actor who couldn't
Yeah.
fight.
It's almost like the Penny and Inspector Gadget scenario from the way that Al's presenting it.
Well, that's the way Al remembers it. That's not
it
how
was like-
Everybody else.
Like that in the Seth Rogen movie,
that,
right?
It was
But it
definitely
was
like
before.
that.
Again, I feel like that was before the Seth Rogen movie.
Because Van Williams was definitely, and I had to look it up because I totally forgot, but he was not portrayed as like
No,
less
he wasn't.
capable.
He wasn't Seth Rogen level of stupid, which I feel was the problem.
All
with
right,
the film, but
we're
that's-
spending too
getting
much
off
time.
topic, Yeah.
But this is a show that we got to check to see if it's on Netflix because that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, Game 13. Captain Jack Harkness from
Ooh.
Doctor Who.
Yeah. Doctor Who.
Goslin Mallard from Darkwing Duck. Yeah. It's gonna be. I don't know.
It's a sad one.
I kind of like Goslin Mallard here.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, not that anything's wrong with Jack Harkness. He got his own show eventually, but
Yeah.
it's just
Hey, Fonzie rules. He could carry his own show. He doesn't count on.
I'm gonna.
I'm
Fonzie
still
in the-
angry about this.
I'm gonna probably say Jack. I feel like Goslin, to me, I remember very fondly, and I remember mattering. But I think
We might be doing that
Jack.
thing where like, well, I love Chewbacca, so let me vote for him.
I
As
think
opposed
Jack-
to thinking about it.
I think Jack as larger because of his his bisexuality and the
Yeah.
way his character was handled is more important for larger science fiction.
But I feel like
I've
Goslin's.
changed my mind.
I feel like Gosling's really important because like she was like kind of like the heart of that show. Like
Yeah.
really,
Yes, but-
Darkwing Duck. The guy who played was Darkwing Duck. He was very conceited. He was a superhero, but he's in it for the money, and she was always the one
And
that was
best of all, Disney show Orphan. Who was Drake Mallard to Goslin once that like pilot episode ended? Her father, not her uncle. Well, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Orphans in Disney shows always get raised by uncles and stuff.
And the other thing, too, is it's hard to compare Jack Harkness as a sidekick because he wasn't always there. He was only there for big episodes.
Yeah.
Right. All right, Game 14, Gabriella from Xena the Warrior Princess versus Peggy Carter from Captain America. Peggy Carter, also a last-minute addition to the list. I think Peggy's strength is almost entirely the Captain America movie, maybe a little bit of their miniseries.
Yeah.
And Gabriella is, the problem with Gabriella and Xena the Warrior Princess, it's been a long time since the, what was it, the Action Hour? Action Pack?
The Action Pack.
Yeah, that WB11 Xena.
Before it was WB11, well, it was still like WPIX or whatever.
Yeah.
Even right at that, like during a crossover, I don't even know. But yeah, so Gabriella was interesting because she was clearly competent in ways different than her hero was, than Xena was, and like she was essential to the story.
Exactly.
And at the time, the idea that there would be two female characters leading a plot, a regular action series was unheard of, basically unheard of. And Peggy is kind of, I guess a lot of the things we like about Peggy was done like 10 years ago by Xena and Gabriella.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Supposedly, I think Peggy might have done it better, which I think gives her some strength.
I beg to differ because Peggy is a newer character. Gabrielle was there for the entire haul of that series.
Truth.
Yeah, I mean, Peggy may have, like, you might find it more enjoyable, or at least more recent, but she had 80 episodes.
Gabrielle was the conscience of that whole series.
Yeah. All right, Game 15, short round from Indiana Jones versus Samwell Tarly from Game of Thrones. Samwell's great. I mean, it's a very popular show, and he's a nice guy in a world full of bad guys. I am 100% all in for short round.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. See, here's the thing about. Well, does anybody want to talk about the elephant in the room with short round?
Yes, I am. He's a racist stereotype, and
There
like
you
that's
go.
really, it really does kind of offend me,
All right,
like of the way he's
but-
portrayed. And I don't know, like we're talking about like Sidekicks That Matter. He furthered a stereotype in a genre that's very
Right.
underrepresented by like Asian actors.
Can I play devil's advocate though?
I want to first.
All right, go ahead.
All right, because this is something that I got to sell it on in the host meeting. When I was a kid, I wanted to be short round.
Yes.
I 100% wanted to be short round. It's not because I didn't like Indiana Jones. Weirdly, I feel like I watched Temple of Doom. I know this is like a hated thing, and this might be a generational thing.
Right.
Because I know that a lot of people don't like Temple of Doom, but that was the first one I remember enjoying. Like I was kind of afraid of Raiders of the Lost Ark, but Temple of Doom I really enjoyed. Had the same fear of bugs like that. That monster scene really sang to me. What was it? Snakes in the first one? I don't remember.
Yeah,
Snakes.
Snakes.
But I wanted
Had to be snakes.
the guy who was going around having adventures with Dr. Jones because I don't feel like it was a secondary role. I mean, that entire movie was these kids were kidnapped by this evil cult, and it was Short Round that was the guy who went in there, like, interacted with the kids and brought the kids to safety with Dr. Jones. Like, I think Matt is 100% correct. This is a genre that is rife with stereotypes and racism. There's like Ebony White, and there's a bunch of characters that are just like the run and fetch it kind of characters.
Yeah.
And when you're doing homages to that period, those kinds of period pieces, you could either like completely disregard that ever was part of the genre, or you could try to own it, and at least like the character, this actor wasn't putting on a fake accent. I remember loving him as Data too, because I was a big tech geek, and I wanted these are the characters I liked. I don't know. I understand where people are coming from, but this isn't coming from he's hilarious and he's bucktooth and it's ridiculous. It's coming from if you're gonna like win it back, this is how you do it. I think this is a great example of them bringing it back to acceptable.
So racism courtesy of Lucas, good writing courtesy of Spielberg.
That wasn't
No.
No.
heart.
You think that was funny?
That was heartfelt.
All right.
And then I just got destroyed.
Wow.
by
I'm
that.
sorry.
And listen, I agree with both Matt and Frank, but to Frank's credit, he was also the moral compass to Indy during that entire movie.
Yeah, Indy was kind of a jerk. But that's actually kind of why we like him. All right, so I'm curious to see what's going to end up happening with this.
It could go.
But I really hope Short Round has a chance to have people write for him and explain, like, this is why he isn't horrible.
Yeah.
It's
Hoping.
a very complicated situation. What's less complicated is Game 16 with Donna Noble from Doctor Who versus John Diggle from Arrow.
There's a lot of Doctor Who here.
Well, Doctor
the
Who
companions
is a
are-
series based on
Sidekicks.
like crazy alien and all his companions.
Yeah.
Before we actually go into the whole Doctor Who thing, I'm going to jump right in. Diggle for the win, because Diggle is an incredible character that transcended the audience to make DC create him in the books now.
Wow.
I mean, I guess. I feel like that's actually not super special. We've seen that with Harley Quinn and a lot of other characters in Marvel and DC.
It's so hard to do it today, though.
I guess, but the 90s weren't that long ago. I don't know. I don't feel like it's not like changing the Constitution. I like Diggle. I do. I like Arrow. I think it's a good show. I think Diggle's a good character. But I just, as far as like revolutionary, he feels like a lot of other of the mentor characters on television right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the cool
Do you
thing is,
realize the 90s were 15 years ago?
It's not that
that's
long
not that
ago.
long ago.
Right.
It's actually that's like, there are
It's almost
people who
almost
died.
About March Madness about how long ago that is.
the other
All right,
thing
then,
too,
then let me throw this out. What makes Noble different than any other companion?
So Donna Noble is the first companion. So for those of you who only have watched the new series of Doctor Who, the first two companions are based on the idea that, well, if a man and a woman are traveling together, you can only have them as love interests.
They're very
That's the way modern television works.
right. There's a lot of romantic tension at very least.
And Donna Noble, was the first time the show was able to break out of that box and say, like, no, they don't have to be romantically linked to make a good, to make a good team together. Like, that's not, like,
Yeah.
men and women can be friends.
yeah, but they toyed with it at one point during her run too, though.
But toying,
No,
I don't know if they did toy with it. I don't feel like it.
I don't feel like it either.
But even toying with it is different than the entirety of Amy Pond and Rose and even River Song and like Jack Harkness. But yeah, I do. Everyone I spoke to who likes Doctor Who loves Donna, and it's one of those things where it's like, why does everyone love this character so much, yet we don't see any more of this kind of character?
Yeah.
I don't know why it is, but it doesn't sell. I guess.
It's because we like to not want her.
What?
No,
That was
because like she's not a perfect match for the Doctor. She's kind of annoying, but we still kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's important.
Yeah. So Game 17 is Hit Girl from Kick-Ass versus Mickey from Rocky. Mickey was the only Rocky character that made it to the final seeding. I'm upset that we lost Paulie, but
Yeah.
Hit Girl is of course super competent. She's awesome. I would argue she's barely a sidekick.
Yeah.
Like, she's
no,
not
I'll argue
particular.
she's not. She's the
Yeah.
star of that. No, all right.
No,
We're
no,
not-
I'm not telling you to shut up until you do
You
not
do-
bellow.
Calm down.
All right, sorry. But I'm saying I think she's the
He's
star.
strangling us while he speaks.
I'm just saying I think she's this. I think she's the star of that film and of that comic book. I think Kick-Ass is the sidekick. I think she's way more like the focus of those stories than he is. I don't feel like she deserves to be here really. But then again, I'm biased.
I don't know. I feel like I feel like it might be a little more your way for Hit Girl, but I don't want to say that if the character is more competent than the supposed focal point of the story, that makes them out.
Well, I don't think
because
it's competence. I think it's actual focus. Like I think the entirety of that story is about her.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't-
an argument between like the I'm better than the hero versus I am, the actual focal point of the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would make an argument that the focal
Yeah.
point of the story is more of a combination than just a singularity. But I also don't know a lot about Rocky, so I can't.
All right.
touch
So
on that.
when you're doing Rocky, and I think we should, everyone, it pays to do this, especially if you're a filmmaker. Watch the first Rocky movie and then ignore the other ones. Even if you watch them and you enjoy them, whatever, there is such a tonal difference between Rocky and all the other ones. And I think when I say Mickey from Rocky, people are like, oh yeah, it's stupid, and then he gets beat up by Mr. T. But I'm actually saying, like, there's a silent scene where Rocky and Mickey are fighting over who's going to be his manager, even though he clearly doesn't need a manager anymore, at least to book the fight that's going to happen with Apollo Creed, and he silently walks out, and then Rocky runs out after him to get. It's like such a beautiful scene, and Mickey is essential to who Rocky is, especially in that first movie. Game 8, Fezzik from The Princess Bride. I'm sorry, 18. Fezzik from The Princess Bride versus Kitty Pryde from X-Men. I like Kitty.
I like Kitty Pryde too.
I love Fezzik.
Kitty Pryde all the way, dude.
Oh, I don't know. She
tough.
has made it.
Tough.
She's become a leader in her own right, like we said. But Fezzik is like perfect. I mean, he's part of an ensemble cast, and Andre the Giant's great role.
Outside of the character, if it weren't Kitty Pryde, Joss Whedon would not rule the box office right now.
Really? That's an interesting point. All right, game 19. Gandalf from The Hobbit. Another thing we're getting a lot of flack by because people do not understand what Gandalf's role was in The Hobbit. Versus Amy Pond from Doctor Who. We kind of already talked about Amy Pond in a way.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
She's essential to like one of the more popular incarnations of the Doctor, so you got to give her her own credit. She's not just another companion. But Gandalf is, of course, so influential as a mentor that people forget that he wasn't actually a main character. You know, Ian McKellen aside, he wasn't a main character. He just moved the story over.
Yeah,
and it was, I guess, I don't know. I think a better, like, magical religious metaphor than Aslan. You know, becoming Gandalf the White and what have you.
Yeah.
I could argue. You could argue that maybe he wasn't that different or that important than any other wizard, but. Interesting. Game 20.
The wizard on the list.
Yeah, he is the wizard. He is the wizard on our list. The wizard you've chosen. Game 20 is another, in my opinion, disappointment. Achu from Men in Tights. Love the character.
Hate the movie.
Love the movie.
Hate the movie.
Don't know why it's significant. Versus Bullock from Gotham. Specifically from Gotham.
So not even from the animated series.
No.
Wow.
Right, so what's Bullock's deal? I mean, I don't know this character at all.
I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm kind of disappointed in this in both ways. I think Bullock has one standout episode in Gotham for a show that hasn't even given us a full season.
Sure.
Otherwise, he feels less influential than Bullock in the comics because I feel like he doesn't even push, Gordon the way he does in the comics, but also I can't necessarily sit here and say like, man, Achu.
So is anyone actually gonna answer my question? Who is Bullock?
Wow,
Bullock is Detective Gordon's first partner when he joins the force in Gotham. And he's a veteran in both versions, but in Gotham specifically, he's a veteran detective at this point who's pretty much kind of given up.
Yeah. So he's fun to watch, and he's like, he is the cautionary tale. This is what could happen to Gordon if he keeps, if he lets Gotham get to him.
But he's played in Gotham. I feel like he's played as a bit of a.
There's a good heart in there somewhere.
Not only is there a good heart in there, but he's also played for laughs a lot more than say
a lot of the show
year one.
Yeah.
Bullock.
I feel like some people are probably going to vote for Bullock in the comics. The problem is it's a broad brush. Sometimes he's clearly a villain. Bullock in the comics. So we'll see. Game 21 is Luigi from Nintendo games versus Kate Bishop from Hawkeye. I think everyone pretty much knows Luigi. Starts off as really just a color palette swap, and then eventually becomes his own character. It's ridiculous.
His own games.
Yeah.
But like his whole entire joke is that he's always the second fiddle to Mario.
Yeah,
Even in his own games, he's just the second fiddle.
But he's taller
in his old games.
And like
brother.
Which is why like I'm kind of like I don't know, I'm sort of against it because like that's his one note gimmick is like the second fiddle. He really doesn't contribute much out of that.
But he got his own game.
Second fiddle.
Yeah. Well, Kate Bishop, on the other hand, again, another character we got flagged for because in universe she refuses to take the sidekick or the girl character, the Lady Hawkeye. She refuses to take that title. But we have to acknowledge that the fact that she doesn't in their universe, in the comic universe, is significant to ours.
Yes.
She isn't Kid Hawkeye. She isn't Lady Hawkeye. She isn't Hawkeye Girl. She is Hawkeye, and she's better at being Hawkeye than Hawkeye. And it makes amazing stories. But part of that, the only reason reason these stories, these Matt Fraction Hawkeye stories, are amazing is because you could play with that stereotypical dynamic of, there's the real hero, and then there's this girl who's being like the next one, maybe the trainee hero.
Yeah.
And I love it. I absolutely love it. Game 22, Willow from Buffy versus Paul Heyman from the WWE. How did Paul Heyman get in?
Can I say something as a wrestling fan?
Please do.
That is a hard call.
All right. Between Willow and Paul Heyman?
Yes, because you can't deny what Paul Heyman has done for the actual business aspect of pro wrestling. But you got Willow, who is an essential character in the Buffy universe.
Oh, I would say that, okay, yeah, she's essential to the Buffy universe, which is like a television run. Like how long did Buffy last?
10 years, maybe.
10 years. Well, yeah, Paul Heyman has.
Okay.
Okay, 7 or 8, and Paul Heyman has been influential to the wrestling business, or going
for
around
20 years,
20+ years, and from the territories, WCW, to when he's ran ECW and when he did WWE, the wrestlers that he's helped build up to the top, like most currently Brock Lesnar, earlier before CM Punk, and even go all the way all this back, this young buck named Stunning Steve Austin. Back in the 80s, like Paul Heyman was the guy. Like there's a reason why there's a term, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. Like he is the one. That,
all right.
He's the manager. Like you want to be associated with, not just for like storyline reasons, but also in the business, because like his business sense is so amazing. Right? And he's a character, and and not only for the wrestlers themselves, he has salvaged storylines just with the way he talks.
All right.
Exactly, and I will totally agree with Matt on that.
Yeah, I'll vote for Paul for you guys, and it's a shame he won't make it past the first round. It's a Buffy character.
It's hard to beat the Buffy character.
The Willow Whites, there's no way. Well, if there is a way, I guess it's possible.
And once again, because of Kitty Pryde, Willow is in this contest.
I would have liked to see Willow versus Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
Game 23, Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars versus Rose Tyler from Doctor Who.
God.
Again, that is hard. You've got a mentor versus one of the biggest fan favorites of Doctor Who.
I don't know if she's that big of a fan favorite anymore. Like they
absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a generational thing, which is ridiculous considering the show was 10 years old in its reboot. But it's true. Yeah, if you like it early.
Can I bring something up? Real quick? Sean Crouch, who is a writer for Dominion and Helix on Sci-Fi, is a huge Doctor Who fan who commented on our post for the March Madness and said that he agrees with me that Rose Tyler has to win because he's a huge Doctor Who fan and named his daughter Rose because of the TV show.
Wow.
Well, interesting enough, I've named my daughter Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I think they're both important. You know.
All right, game 24.
Yeah, game. You know what? Yeah, game 24.
We're not gonna win.
Yeah, they're both cool. Next.
Felicity Smoke from Arrow versus Batu from Ghost in the Shell.
Batu.
I don't care about either of them. No, I don't.
Felicity Smoke. Again, it's the whole Diggle thing.
I actually do, but I'm not a big fan of Diggle. I like him. I just don't think he's not that significant. I say Felicity is significant. I think she does kind of break a lot of molds with this character in a clever way. I don't know much about Batu. Why don't you take the reins, Al?
I think Matt would actually probably be better at this than
I meant to Al. Matt?
All right, I would say Bato also breaks the stereotypes in the cyberpunk genre, where he's the most cyborged out of the squad of Section 9 and Ghost in the Shell, but yet out of it, he's the most humane out of them. He still has all human quirks. He likes to work out. He likes to drink beer, even though that means nothing to a cyborg now. He is the cyborg vet. But instead of being oh, this is I'm still fighting the fight, he deeply regrets his actions during the war that takes place in this universe, and he is all of his actions are based on witnessing the horrors of war, and being this is I saw this as a soldier, and as an officer of the law, I am not going to let this happen again. And so while the main character of the series, Major Kusanagi, is very cold, logical and calculated, Bato is pretty much the foil to her, and like their debates on like on morality and humanity, I think really drives the movie and the television series that follow it.
Very cool.
I agree.
All right, game 25 is War Machine from Iron Man versus Speedy from Green Arrow. That's actually the first superhero versus superhero.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Well, is it Speedy from the comics or Speedy from the TV show?
It just says
Speedy
from Green Arrow, so I'm pretty sure it's the comics.
Yeah.
Which means, yeah, I think so. War Machine's cool, I guess. You know, he takes the place of
Iron Man.
Iron Man. It's
Yeah.
not
I'm
bad.
Speedy. I feel bad. I think DC's just got a lot of better sidekicks. I think they got
I
bigger,
think
fleshed
Speedy-
out
I don't know.
storylines.
He did heroin.
Yeah,
I was
that's-
gonna say we have a junkie in our contest.
well, hey, all kidding aside, and you guys are horrible, actually, but I think what's significant
Yeah.
is the fact that he had that struggle with drugs. And in fact, when Arrow tried to tackle with it in a comic booky sort of way with their sci-fi drug that he was addicted to or whatever that affected him,
Yeah.
it felt very hollow.
Uh-huh.
In the comic, when Speedy has the issues with Arrow, it's significant. I think that is a sidekick that matters. Versus War Machine, I can't think of many stories where it's like he's overcome significant non-comic booky diversity
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
Adversity.
And
Adversity.
Yeah, and Speedy grew up. He became a single father, one of the only few single fathers in comic books, really.
And actually, pre-52, before everything happened, one of the last big arcs was he lost his arm in a battle, and that was pretty catastrophic.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is a pretty fun match. Game 26 is Jane from Firefly versus Jimmy Olsen from Superman. Now, we talked about Superman and his quintessential sidekicks. Jimmy Olsen is Superman's best friend.
Yeah.
Very essential to some early Golden Age stories. Jane from Firefly is... I love Superman. Jane from Firefly, I think, should win this one because he is a significant sidekick that matters. Because clearly he's not much of a sidekick. He's not much of a team member. And that's interesting. We were able to change up the story a little by doing
Yes.
this.
He's
Superman, he's Superman's pal.
Jane from Firefly?
No, Jimmy Olsen.
Oh,
Just rewatch James Down and then go vote.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
yeah. All right. So that's game 27. Tonto from the Lone Ranger versus Dobby from the Harry Potter series. This feels so stupid.
It does in a
It's-
very weird way.
When you get down to game 27, you feel like, what am I doing with my life? Tonto fight Dobby. I have similar to Matt's feelings about the kind of the history of racial insensitivity
Yeah.
with Tonto. I think there are times when he is built as a good character, as a well-crafted, considerately written character,
Yeah.
and then there's a lot of times where he's not. And Dobby, on the other hand, is kind of ridiculous, but as ridiculous as he is kind of like the only, like he's one of a few major emotional hits that Harry Potter gets.
And I'll say,
And I don't like that. I don't like the fact that Dobby dies, possibly. I don't care anymore. Dobby dies, and then it's like, oh, your role as a sidekick is to die and give me agency to do stuff. But he does so in, like, a heroic way, and even that's stupid. But he does so, like, it's true to the character.
Yeah.
You know, like he uses his own abilities and his power. Like, everything flew... I don't know. They buried him in the yard. I can't deal with this.
I mean, also Dobby and the House Elves were also probably a
that's
really good a really good way for Harry Potter, I think, to tackle one of its most interesting and most complex subjects to talk about, and that was really its slavery issue, and diversity and racism in the magical world.
Where Tonto kind of just whitewashes it. You're my blood brother. Don't worry about the fact that your people take over, and destroy.
I think the thing about Tonto is that when we saw Johnny Depp do it and it was still racist, we were like, oh, right.
The real thing
This
about
is the
Tonto
problem.
is, you're absolutely right. The real thing about Tonto, it's very hard for me to remember a specific instance where it's well done.
Yeah.
But,
You
and
know?
I think that might, I feel like this is a weird way to say that, but I think that might matter. So
Yeah, I think that hurts
I think,
Tonto.
well, I think it hurts Tonto, but I think also, like, in a larger contextual sense of why he might be on here is that matters. Like, we can look back at a character that is written, it's not like that it's a character that's written so poorly, but a character that's so iconic, and we can look back now and be like, yeah, I don't know if I'm comfortable with the fact that we put all our hopes and dreams on this character. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that I don't want to necessarily vote for Tonto because of that, but to justify maybe why he's on this list.
Right. All right, game 28, Sancho Panza from Don Quixote versus Bucky Barnes from Captain America. That is basically pitting our... This is how we determine how stupid our audience is. As Bucky just wins. Because no one's voting for Sancho Panza. No one is.
Well, I'll actually put it in perspective. Bucky Barnes died for our lead character.
And then came back.
And then came back. So how significant is that?
50 years later.
That's true.
But Sancho Panza was an adorable panda bear.
From 1605.
Then why did you, AJ? You just talked right over how stupid. He just covered up as stupid. So obvious. This is an interesting competition. In that, we will determine something about our audience by the end of it.
But yeah, and the actions of Sancho Panza in the stories are very. They come out with criticisms of the time period without overtly stating like the problems with religion, the problem with like the General of the Knight's Tale that has been accepted at the time period. The work.
Yeah. He is the Jiminy Cricket of that story, and I know that sounds stupid, but it isn't. It's like he kind of like Don Quixote is clearly insane, and Sancho. I don't know if anybody's voting for Sancho Panza.
They should though. They should.
I think Bucky's is an interesting character, certainly a popular one, but I don't know if he's as. I think he's pretty stereotypically the sidekick who dies for our hero. I don't know. Maybe that's significant. I can't decide. Game 20. Maybe you will have to flip a coin yourselves. Game 29 is Arthur from the Tick versus Bronn from Game of Thrones. I will say that Arthur from the Tick is the only reason why Pinky from Pinky and the Brain is still on this list. I would have tried to veto him out, but like Arthur, clearly a main character in that story, and also clearly a sidekick.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Arthur is of course the comedy sidekick to Tick's, a beautiful interpretation of the superhero genre. Bronn is a bastard, a villain, a jerk, a mercenary, and like one of the best characters in Game of Thrones.
One of the nicest mercenaries you'll ever come across.
I think one of the interesting things as far as Bronn, particularly in the series, is he's one of the few characters, other than I guess maybe Sam, who's also on this list. He's kind of played straight for who he is. I'm like, this is who I am. This is what you get. And I think I don't know if that matters in a larger context, but it certainly matters for Game of Thrones.
Game 30 is Garth from Wayne's World versus Gonzo from the Muppets.
Part time.
Movie.
Yeah.
Hardest one ever.
Yeah, and it's also difficult because Garth is clearly like a secondary, like another main character. But like in any other show, he would have been just the geeky weird guy who doesn't really say anything. Gonzo, was like a side Muppet that kind of got elevated to front page, kind of like the front page. That's not what happens in theater. You don't go to the front page. You go on
top billing.
Yeah, that's good. Game 31, Tales from Sonic, never played, versus Mona Lisa Vito from My Cousin Vinny. We had a lot of nominees that were Best Academy Award, like supporting actor. I think that's what this is. Mona Lisa, cool.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on the Tails bandwagon.
Oh, really?
Here. I'm a huge Sonic guy.
Oh, yeah.
I love Tails.
I will go My Cousin Vinny.
All right, fight. Go quick. We only have a minute left.
One of the interesting things about Tails is he's one of the few, few secondary characters in-game that appears with you on screen and is an interactable, integral piece of the mechanics of Sonic 2.
From the Zelda thing.
Yeah,
not even
Couldn't
even interact with the fairy in the Legend of Zelda.
I tried meeting you halfway.
the way you could with Tails. I mean, you could jump up and Tails would carry you over pits. I mean, it was like
Who's your first best friend? I mean,
it was a really revolutionary concept. And don't bring up that I was lonely as a child.
Speaking of lonely as a child, Ken, do you have anything to say about Mona Lisa Vito?
Yes, she solved the crime in My Cousin Vinny.
She absolutely did. And it's cool. What's significant
Tails builds things now.
What's significant is that Mona Lisa was she could have just been the funny love interest in that movie, but she actually was smart enough to figure it out.
She knows cars.
The Archie Comics universe's Tails is a very complex and strong and independent character.
We got it. Anyway. I think he does have a good chance. Is it a he or she? I don't
it's
know.
A he.
Game 32. Bill Coulson from the MCU versus Wedge Antilles from Star Wars.
Oh no!
All right, this is amusing to me for a couple of reasons. First of all, Phil's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, he starts off as like, I wouldn't even call him a walk-on character because that suggests he had some sort of fame beforehand, and that wasn't true.
Nope.
He was like a tertiary character. He was like the opening of a gag at the end of the movie. And then he eventually went to Sidekick in Avengers and then star in S.H.I.E.L.D. Then you got Wedge Antilles, who is basically like mentioned and name dropped all the time. I don't know what he does or what role he plays. Matt, you probably know.
He blew up 2 Death Stars and was significant in the Battle of
I
Han.
don't remember that at
Matt,
all.
you
in
sound
any
different.
movie. I don't remember that at all.
I mean, the thing with Wedge is like he kind of like was Coulson was in the early MCU films. He wasn't even a walk-on role. He was just a side character. But like Coulson, where all the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents were dying around him in Iron Man, and Coulson survived, while all the rebels were dying around him in the Battle of Yavin, he was seen to survive. And then he came back for Empire, came back for Return of the Jedi, and like Coulson, because he keeps on coming back, he developed a fan base, and he became his own character, where he got his own novel series, his own comic book series, and even his own video game series.
And the only person in this contest played by 2 different people.
Obi-Wan.
Luigi's definitely been played by 2 different people.
Yeah.
You crap, Ken.
I play Luigi all the time.
I can totally understand why he's here because he really is the quintessential kind of like.
You said
I was such
quintessential
a
too much. You're a liar.
No, but he was. No, he was.
Right.
He was
I'm the
totally
first person
guy-
in this conversation who said
Wedge.
Much. Anyway,
Yeah,
he was
continue.
totally the guy like was
Yeah,
such
now.
in the background, and then everyone sort of brought him up to the forefront. I mean, this was
Who, Wedge?
Wedge.
Yes.
I still don't know who the hell this guy is. That is bull. I mean,
Because you're not a Star Wars fan.
But you remember who Porky is.
I'm not a true Star Wars fan, man.
You are not a true Star Wars
If you
fan.
don't know who Wedge is, no.
You could go straight to hell. I hope this contest starts as many fights in your home as it
As it has
has
in
in
ours.
this.
Here's what I was gonna say. Well, like you said, you wanted to be short round when you were a kid. When I was a kid, I wanted to be Wedge. I wanted to be the soldier that flew the fighter ships and blew up the enemy starships.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes.
Ken, shut the hell up. Matt, where did you want to play this? How? Was this from the movies? Is this something?
When I first saw like he was the guy that was shooting down the TIE fighters, and that was his thing. He shot down the TIEs. He blew up the Death Stars.
Yes.
Yes.
Easy. I could.
He was the only guy that took down an AT-AT in Empire.
Yes.
You shut the hell up, Ken. All right, this is there's no end to this.
No,
so-
there's not.
Yeah, there is actually. By next week, Monday or whatever, we're gonna close round 1 off, and only half of these characters are gonna survive
Oh my goodness.
round. Yeah, so please vote. Go to non-productive.com/vote. Why is this our song? If you are a musician and would like to compose music for us, go to non-productive.com as well. And then
I am
look-
doing the
James,
polka right
James,
now.
you are not allowed to enjoy this.
I'm kind of digging it.
Yep,
No.
yep. All right, from all of us here at non-productive.com, I've said that a lot of times.
Yep,
I
yep.
just, go home, go do stuff, vote, but also vote. Yes,
Yeah, vote.
It's the only way
Definitely vote.
to be sure.
It's the only way to make sure the right people win.
Oh my god.